The essence of folklore art, lifestyle, and crafts undergoes various metamorphoses, parallel to the development of the general civilizational process. The role and significance of movable cultural heritage in socio-economic processes in local communities is also extremely dynamic. This dynamic and the possibilities for the application of new approaches, new techniques, and initiatives for the preservation of cultural heritage and the organization of its exposure and demonstration in contemporary and modern cultural formats and events were the main challenges the project faced during its implementation. We focused the project activities both on expanding the opportunities for employment, social inclusion, and entrepreneurship based on local and traditional historical values, and also towards expanding the opportunities for implementing contemporary and modern techniques for cultural impact and improving access to the folklore values. We implemented activities to identify, transfer, adapt, and introduce innovative Norwegian practices and business models in the fields of folk art, and crafts. The products created as a result of the transfer, adaptation, and introduction of the innovative practices have the potential to assist all stakeholders in their preparation for organizing and implementing events involving local, traditional folk art and crafts from Bulgaria and Norway, and at the same time upgrade those with modern techniques and technologies for expressive impact and aesthetic reception. The project activities were directed towards the improvement and support of cultural entrepreneurship in the field of folk art, lifestyle, and crafts, and the transfer of innovative Norwegian practices aiming to improve access to culture. We focused our efforts on improving the access to the cultural heritage of the local population, tourists, and guests of the target territories. The change is a result of the exchange of experience and the transfer of innovative techniques and tools for cultural animation, which have increased the capacity of entrepreneurs in the field of cultural heritage, in relatively remote, in terms of geographical location, and economically more underdeveloped regions of Bulgaria. The selection of the target territories from several regions of Bulgaria was predetermined by the objectives of the project, to attract new audiences and expand the audience, connoisseurs, and lovers of cultural and historical monuments. By implementing the project activities, the following results were achieved. Opportunities for cultural entrepreneurship and creative activity and performance have increased through innovative digital tools and platforms for preparation, collaboration, and organizing new forms of presentation of folk art, lifestyle, and crafts. The conditions for social inclusion were improved and the economic and educational benefits for the local communities in the target territories increased. Diversification of the activities for exposure and socialization of the cultural historical sites in territories peripheral to the major cultural historical centers was achieved. Prerequisites were also created for attracting new audiences, connoisseurs, and lovers of traditional and unique cultural assets, based on innovative and multimedia formats for their presentation in geographical regions with different tourist potential. This led to an increase in the social effect of local folk art, lifestyle, and crafts on the solidarity between local communities in relatively remote and less developed areas in Bulgaria, as well as affirming their identity. In this way, conditions were created for the expansion of cultural consumption and the involvement of local residents, tourists, and guests of the target territories in the general cultural process of socialization of the local cultural heritage. Through innovative multimedia formats, a synthesis was achieved in the presentation of intangible and digital cultural heritage, in accordance with the modern style and way of life of modern users of cultural tourism products and services. The achieved change is the result of the financial and organizational support of the Norwegian Programme for Culture and the financial mechanism of the European Economic Area 2014-2021. The project outputs and outcomes contribute to the increase of the socio-economic, educational, and cultural benefits for the local communities, based on their rich cultural and historical past. Supporting and developing local cultural entrepreneurship will reduce the existing inequality and create conditions for social inclusion and employment, in a contemporary and modern way, characteristic of large European megacities. The orientation of the activities towards the less developed and relatively remote from large agglomerations target territories in the area of the Rose Valley, the resort areas south of Burgos, the Thrace-Rhodope area and the Western Rhodops are in line with the goals of the financial mechanism of the European Economic Area. Strategy for attracting new audiences in line with the modern lifestyle of consumers was created in partnership and collaboration with the Training and Crafts Development Centre, Fjellugla Kompetanses from Norway. The exchange of experience with the Norwegian partner created conditions for deepening the intercultural dialogue between the two countries. In accordance with the objectives of the Cultural Entrepreneurship, Heritage and Cooperation program, innovative tools and techniques for cultural animation were introduced in the 4 selected target territories, improving the conditions for presenting and documenting local folk arts, lifestyle, and crafts of various socio-ethnic and cultural minorities and groups in the target territories. The traveling attraction, Folklore Ethnic Workshop, Etnotiverilnica, presents historical cultural assets in their synthesis, using innovative multimedia and scenography solutions to improve access to culture by creating brand new cultural content organized in innovative performance formats. As a result, the unique cultural and historical heritage found in the territory of the Rose Valley, the resort areas south of Burgos, the Thracian Rhodope area, and the high Western Rhodops are united and conditions are created to attract new audiences, tourists, and guests, non-traditional users of the cultural heritage, for each of the target territories with different geographical locations. The planned network for cultural cooperation and exchange between Bulgarian and Norwegian cultural entrepreneurs and operators aims to improve the quality and efficiency of the management and socialization of cultural heritage, as well as to raise the awareness of local traditions and folkloric creativity of different nationalities, ethnic and cultural minorities. Based on the cooperation of partners from Bulgaria and Norway, the best and most innovative practices from Norway for the socialization and presentation of local cultural artifacts were identified, piloted, and modeled. These practices will be adapted and implemented in the target territories, thereby increasing the capacity of local cultural operators and entrepreneurs in the field of cultural heritage to improve access to culture and attract new audiences. The specially elaborated digital tool, Media Art Library, Iskustvoteka, containing presentations of the local Bulgarian and Norwegian folklore heritage, will support the interaction between cultural operators, professional artists, and amateurs, as well as local craftsmen from different national, social, age and ethnic groups. This interaction is expected to have a fruitful impact on cultural consumption, based on local cultural artifacts. In the art library, folklore and ethnographic libraries are published in text, photo, and audio-video formats. The digital tool creates opportunities to organize digital workshops promoting local and unique Bulgarian and Norwegian recipes, characteristic of the Bulgarian target territories and the Norwegian fjords region. The platform is oriented towards improving access to and the organization of cultural events, digital ethno-impresario, to comply with the objectives of Result 2, improved access to culture and arts. This product will increase the capacity of local cultural entrepreneurs from the target territories, in the field of cultural historical heritage and knowledge transfer, through cultural cooperation between Bulgarian and Norwegian entrepreneurs. The traveling attraction, Folklore Ethnic Workshop, is in line with the objectives of the Norwegian program, Cultural Entrepreneurship, Heritage and Cooperation, introduction of the new techniques of cultural animation and innovative approaches and the socialization of intangible cultural heritage. The new formats have been demonstrated by organizing 4 cultural events, 1 in each of the target territories. This approach provides opportunities for presenting different types of folk arts, lifestyle, local cuisine, and crafts. This is an experiment in the transformation of elements of the urban environment and localities from the surroundings of the settlements, related to the cultural and historical past, into a kind of scene for innovative performances. In this way, the possibilities for organizing innovative cultural events and formats for presenting local cultural artifacts have been demonstrated. This will breathe new life into the selected relatively peripheral and underdeveloped target areas. Until now, those areas were not particularly popular as destinations for cultural consumption and cultural tourism, although they are extremely rich in unique crafts, traditional ways of life, and folklore of different social, ethnic, and cultural groups. The innovative way of presenting the cultural assets of the past involves and engages new audiences and new users of the products and services offered by local cultural entrepreneurs. The inclusion of quality examples of the Norwegian cultural tradition will lead to a stronger emphasis on the rich cultural identity of European peoples and ethnic groups. Beneficiaries of the project activities are all stakeholders from the target territories participating in the processes of management and exposure of the local cultural heritage. Expanding their capacity to increase access to cultural artifacts and the development of cultural entrepreneurship, based on local cultural and historical assets, is in line with the objectives and priorities of Outcome 2, improved access to arts and culture, and the program, Cultural Entrepreneurship, Heritage, and Cooperation. The implementation of the project activities and the expected outputs and outcomes coincide with the European Year of Cultural Heritage initiative. Some of the objectives of that initiative fully correspond with the aspiration, through the implementation of the project, to promote the understanding of the cultural heritage of the target territories as a shared resource for cultural and economic prosperity and strengthening the feeling of a common European identity. Nowadays, the place and role that cultural heritage occupies in our lives increases its importance. This will be demonstrated through the multi-genre performances, demonstrating the synthesis of intangible, tangible, and digital cultural. Increasing the importance of historical cultural heritage is also the main objective of many other European initiatives, such as Creative Europe, European Capitals of Culture, and others. The Digital Europe program is a new grant program that will launch in 2021 to support the digital transformation of European societies and economies. The implementation of this program has an extremely favorable effect on the creation of digital techniques for the interpretation of cultural artifacts. The digitization of cultural monuments will be a kind of digital renaissance in the processes of their storage, exposure, and conservation. In this aspect, through the project activities, several digital tools have been implemented, creating conditions for intercultural dialogue, both for representatives of the local communities and between the cultural entrepreneurs and suppliers of cultural products and services from Bulgaria and Norway. In the new information society, the present project emphasizes the process of socialization and cultural consumption. This priority complies with the strategy for the digitization of Bulgarian culture and the many other initiatives supporting the modernization of cultural tourism products and services.